Good afternoon. Today I am going to introduce to you Brigadier Narender Kumar, SM VSM, who was commissioned in Madras Regiment in 1983. Brigadier Narender Kumar has participated in various operations of Indian Army, including Op Power in Sri Lanka, and thereafter he has also been part of a team which participated in United Nations mission in Ethiopia and Eritrea. He has also been posted to Imtrat in Bhutan. He has also commanded RR battalion in J&K for more than 2 years. He has also served in high altitude area in West Kameng district in northeast. He has also been appointed as DIG, Assam Rifles in northeastern Manipur, and as BGS in UB area. He was part and he has planned the rescue mission for casualties during 2013 floods in Uttarakhand. He has also been decorated with SM and Vishist Seva medal, and he has received 2 commendation cards for his meritorious services, and he has also been awarded as a Scholar Warrior Award by Chief of the Army Staff on 24th of November 2021. And post-retirement, he continues with his pursuits of writing books and journals on strategic matters. He has also been a fellow and a delivered lecture in Chengdu in China on strategic affairs. So you are welcome, Brigadier Narender Kumar, and thank you very much for giving us time to talk to you. Welcome, Brigadier Narender, again. I just would like to ask you a few questions, and the first, right at the outset, I want to know for our audience, what made you to join Indian Army?
Thank you very much, Brigadier Sharma. It is my honor that you considered me for this particular interview. Let me first tell you that my first brush with the army was post 1962 as a small child, when in my hometown there was a military exercise which was conducted by the Indian Army. Seeing the discipline and the way of life as a small child, it actually prompted me that why not to choose this particular profession in life. But it was too early in life to decide at that point in time. Subsequently, when I was graduating from Government College Shimla, 2 of my roommates joined the Indian Army as officers, and therefore they actually encouraged me that why not try and join Indian Army as an officer, and that is the beginning of my motivation and journey. And in fact, my elder brother had also joined the army in 1975, so that was also a motivating factor for me. And putting together my own family and my friends, that actually encouraged and motivated me to join the Indian Army.
So, during your service tenure, you must have participated in combats of Indian Army. Can you elaborate and throw some light on your combat experience?
Of course, I had a very varied combat experience. The first time that one was mobilized for operation was in 1986, when there was intrusion in Sundaram Valley in Tawang sector. That was our first experience when we actually mobilized against the real adversary, that was China. Subsequently, on de-induction from West Kameng district, we went to Hyderabad, and from there unit mobilized to join Op Pawan in Sri Lanka, and that was the real experience where we were blooded with bullet and adversaries that were amorphous and not visible actually, but it was a different lesson that was taught to the Indian Army while participating in Op Pawan. Subsequently from Op Pawan, as I grew in service, I had an opportunity to serve in Jammu and Kashmir for close to 6 years. And in Jammu and Kashmir, the combat or the counter-insurgency was completely different from what it was in Sri Lanka or our experience in Sundaram Valley. Here we were fighting against the jihadis, those who were radicalized, and cross-border terrorism. Both sides of Pir Panjal ranges, that is the Kashmir Valley, as well as south of Pir Panjal, that is Jammu division. And in fact, I had an opportunity to serve as a CO of the Rashtriya Rifles, that was in south of Pir Panjal, where the terrain is extremely difficult. But we were fortunate that we had the support of the people behind us while fighting the terrorists, those who were coming from across the line of actual control. And subsequently, then I was fortunate enough to also serve in Manipur, where the insurgency is both, that is Naga insurgency as well as Meitei insurgency, where we were dealing with the insurgents from PLA and UNLF, and of course the Naga insurgents also. So if you take my overall experience, it was mixed, both conventional as well as sub-conventional operations of varied kind, that is urban insurgency, rural insurgency, and also the jungle warfare as well. And I would say that it has actually taught me that insurgency is not pouring the troops in the jungles or in built-up area, but pouring into the hearts and minds of the people.
Okay, I just thank you very much. But I would like to know any particular event in your service tenure which you remember vividly and which you find had been and made a mark on your life.
There are multiple instances which I can quote, but I will just quote two of the examples. First was in Jammu and Kashmir when I was commanding the Rashtriya Rifles. During one of the operations, when we were out in a remote jungle area, and there was an old lady who came up to me and she was crying, and she said that I have not been given justice by the administration or by the God, and I want you to give me the justice. I was quite surprised that what kind of justice is she demanding. And when I heard her story, it was actually, I went numb, absolutely numb, because she told me that her son was killed by a terrorist when this man had come and raped his wife, and when he objected to it, the terrorist slit his head into two pieces in front of his own mother. And you can imagine what would have gone through the minds of this old lady who was close to 80 at that point in time. And she said, I want justice and you have to give me the justice. I was really wondering that how do I deliver the justice to this lady? I do not know even the whereabouts and the details about this terrorist. And slowly we started working. And let me tell you one example, that in counterinsurgency and in difficult situations, soldiers are very superstitious and they do believe in supernatural powers. When I was coming down from that village, I was not talking to my men, as my habit was that while coming down, I used to speak to my men, educate them and tell them what precautions they should take while moving in the jungle and forested area. But that day I was absolutely quiet. I was thinking about this old lady and what would have happened with her when her son was killed in front of her own eyes. Now that was the time when there was a lightning which had struck at a place called Pir Baba, and I knew that whatever this lady had asked me to do, it has the sanction of the God, and I knew that we will be able to deliver the justice to this old lady. Lo behold, after 2 months, we were able to track down the terrorist who had done this barbaric act with this young man, and we could trap him, and we ultimately eliminated him. And after taking the photograph of this slain terrorist, I sent that photograph to the old lady, and I told her that, is he the one who actually killed your son? After seeing the photograph, the lady said in local Gujarati language, "Kaleji nu thand pai gayi." And what she did was, which is, I still can't forget about that she took out 6 eggs of hen and gave it to the boys, those who had taken the photograph, to the old lady, and told them that, please give these 6 eggs to the CEO. I have not seen God, but he has come as a messenger of God, and for me, he is actually God to me, because he has delivered the justice. Though I am a pure vegetarian, but those 6 eggs were delivered after 3rd day, when the troops came down to their base, and it was given to me. The fact of the matter is that, of course, I did not eat that, but that gift from this lady continues to remain as the greatest award that I have received during my 33 years of service. The next important issue was, where it changed my thinking, was during the Uttarakhand disaster, where we realized that soldiers do fight the war with the weapons, but here we had to shun the weapons to save the lives. The timing, as far as pressing into rescue mission, is at premium, because every minute, every hour, you are losing someone if you do not rescue them. And therefore, every minute we could save human lives, and that actually, you can say that had a lasting impression on mine, that what is the power of a soldier with or without weapons. And therefore, even the local people, those who were in that particular area, having lived there for lives, entire life, but they realized that what we could do, probably no other organization in this country can do. And that was a great satisfying moment for me in my career as a VGS Ops in Uttarakhand.
That's very nice. It is, we know about your work and the type of energy you had with you, and you saved so many lives during these floods in 2013 in Uttarakhand, and your work was highly appreciated, undoubtedly. It's not only during actual combat, but when our civilian population is under stress and is victim to the floods and natural disasters, it's only the Indian Armed Forces and Indian Army which comes and helps them, and is a great help to our civilian population. I would like to know something about your regiment, the Madras Regiment. Could you throw some light on your regiment?
Yes, it's a great honor, in fact, to serve with Tambis. We call our soldiers as Tambis, as a younger brother. And the relationship with the men is not like a soldier and officer, but it is like a family. Even after retirement or in service, you are part of the family. That has been one of the greatest strength of this regiment. Our regiment is close to 300 years, and we have served in UN mission, we have served beyond the borders of the country and within the country, both in 1940, in 1965, 71, 62, where Madras Regiment has delivered both in peace and war. And in fact, the Battle of Basanta is one of the famous battles which my regiment has fought. Battle of Jasami. There are large number of battles and theatre honors which the units have got. In my own unit during Sri Lanka, I've got 3 VRC and close to a dozen Sena Medal and commendation cards. And Tambis are one of the finest soldiers, the most disciplined lot, affectionate, and of course, they understand the situation even without orders being given to them. that is the greatest strength. And finally, the bond between the officers and the men is so close that even after retirement, even today, when I was not keeping well for a short while, my men and the old JCOs would call me up and ask me almost every week what is my condition. And in fact, even when I was hospitalized, it was my own unit officers and men, those who were taking care of me. That is something which I would like all regiments and all units to follow in the Indian Army, because ultimately it is this fraternity or this brotherhood that carries this army. And therefore my regiment has great examples as far as the discipline is concerned, the culture is concerned, the in dedication to the service is concerned. Remarkable soldiers, outstanding sportsmen, and great human being.
Thank you, Brigadier Narender. But continuing with your views about your service in Army and your experiences, we would like to know something about your work which you have done, the type of books which you have written or edited, and the articles which you have written for national or international journals. I'll request you to kindly throw some light on that and show something for the viewers, so that we get enlightened and we have knowledge about your work.
In fact, all my writings are based on my experience on the ground and understanding of the topography, understanding of the human terrain, and understanding the larger geopolitical situation in the subcontinent. I have written close to 250 articles, chapters in various magazines, journals, newspapers, and I continue to do that even now. I have authored 2 books. The first book which I authored was under the tutelage of late Brig Narender Kumar, and that was the book Challenges in the Indian Ocean Region, Response Options. You can just have a look at the book.
Yeah, that's right. This is Challenges in the Indian Ocean Region, Response and Options by Brigadier Narender Kumar. Well, that's very nice. And can you just tell me in one sentence, what are the basic challenge to us in the Indian Ocean?
As far as the Indian Ocean is concerned, it provides India reach and depth to the outside world. And the second is that blue economy is picking up now. India as a growing economy needs secure sea lines of communication, and therefore Indian Ocean becomes very vital as far as India's growth as a soft and hard part is concerned. And therefore I thought it appropriate that as an infantry officer, of course, it's a huge challenge to write about the maritime issues, but I took up this challenge and I wrote this book, Challenges in the Indian Ocean, by dividing the Indian Ocean in multiple areas as far as the economy is concerned, maritime challenges is concerned, the threats and opportunities that Indian Ocean offers to us.
Okay, what is the next book you have written?
The second book which I wrote was Rise of China, a military challenge to India.
That is Rise of China, a military challenge to India. Okay.
In this book, basically I have identified certain issues, that what will happen if India does not compete with China or does not secure its borders or maritime frontiers to deal with China, and that you can deal with China if you are powerful. It's not possible to deal with China without gaining hard military power and the soft power as well. And therefore, this was an encouragement for me to write a book on China. China is a very, very complex civilization and a country, you can say, and different system of governance, and therefore I thought it appropriate that you can change friends but you can't change your neighbors, and therefore if we have to grow as a nation, then we need to develop our own capabilities and capacities to deal with adversaries in whatever manner it is required to be done. Thereafter, I also edited 2 books. that was the first book was which I edited was along with the director USI was India Nigeria Experience in Combating Terrorism, and it actually gave me a lot of insight into how Nigerian army is dealing with their own insurgency, Boko Haram, the militancy that is along with the Niger Delta, where their oil pipelines go into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, this was a great experience as far as editing this book is concerned, and the recent book which I edited along with General A.K. Singh is Battle Ready for the 21st Century. In this book, we are talking about new generation wars and what capabilities India must have to deal with the challenges that may be posed in future. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. But meanwhile, I'll ask you, what kind of lessons we have learned? And rather, I would request you to elaborate what better and what all good we can do to improve our security environment and strengthen our armed forces. So, including the training of the manpower, the officers, the issues, and jawans, and equivalent ranks in Air Force and Navy. Would you like to throw some light over this to strengthen of Indian armed forces and as a nation?
Let me, in brief, say that the new generation warfare cannot be fought purely by kinetic force. What we need today is technology input as far as the armed forces is concerned, because the new warfare will be fought mostly in either in cyberspace or in conceptual space, and of course ultimately in geographical space as well. But fact of the matter is that technology is a tissue that links between the weapon platforms and the troops, and therefore induction of technology, new generation systems is extremely important. The second aspect is integration as far as the armed forces is concerned, that is Air Force, Navy, ground forces, and also cyber warriors. We cannot fight this war in a stand-alone mode, and therefore when you have to integrate all the forces and the services, it requires certain amount of conceptual doctrines, conceptual documents, doctrines, and ultimately the training with the new generation systems and on ground, how it can be applied in a various topography, terrain, and different conditions. Because whatever you use against insurgents or terrorists, the same cannot be used against the conventional enemy. We have seen what has happened in West Asia, we have seen what has happened in Azerbaijan and Armenia, and therefore we need to take lessons out of these wars and incorporate all these issues in our professional military education.
Thank you. And finally, I would like to ask you that what message you have for our youth as far as security and defense of the country is concerned.
My own opinion is that every citizen is a soldier of this country. Soldiers alone at the border cannot defend the country. The threat is from within, threat is from the cyberspace, threat is from the geographical space, and therefore today every citizen of this country has to be aware as far as the national security challenges are concerned, and they must contribute in whatever manner they can do. Whatever they see on ground, whatever they see in day-to-day life, they must acquire this knowledge so that they can help the government, they can help the security forces, and they can also help in curbing or thwarting the threats that nation from within may have.
Thank you very much. Permit me to ask you another question, just in one sentence or so. In your opinion, what kind of a challenge and a threat China and Pakistan can pose to our country?
We have to look at from two aspects. The first is that some point in time it was earlier said that two-front war is only in the minds of the military, and some people used to comment that it is a figment of imagination, that two-front war will actually fructify in some point in time. But today we are at a crossroad where two-front war or two-and-a-half-front war is a reality. And when we talk of a two-front war or two-and-a-half-front, that means we are talking about Pakistan, we are talking about China, and we are also talking about non-state actors. If we look at the history of Pakistan Army has mastered the art of unrestricted warfare and use of jihadis as strategic asset, or which they can use in hybrid or grey zone conflicts. Similarly, as far as China is concerned, China has mastered the art of using technology both in conventional as well as in sub-conventional arena. And therefore, if apart from both these aspects, there is also a threat of conventional war, because China is militarily stronger than India today, both in terms of numbers, assets and technology. As far as Pakistan is concerned, it may not be as strong as China as far as technology and numbers is concerned, but incorporating non-state actors with the conventional forces, Pakistan also becomes a very lethal or a very potent adversary to India. As far as India is concerned, to deal with both, the first is that we need to build capabilities and capacities as far as dealing with hybrid war is concerned and grey zone conflict is concerned. Simultaneously, against both these countries, what today we need to do is that we need to build military infrastructure along with the frontiers, especially the northern frontiers, so that our military assets can be employed in time and space to deal with both. And that is what the focus should be. And last but not the least, incorporation of technology, which I short while ago mentioned, that also needs to be given an impetus by the government so that we are capable to deal with both these nations. Sorry.
Then I'd like to ask you a last question now. I'm straining you a little too much. You agree with me that quality-wise the Indian soldier is better than Chinese and Pakistani soldier as far fighting capabilities are concerned. It has improved umpteen number of times, because Chinese are soldiers. They are not tuned to high altitude warfare, number one. And secondly, yes, I was talking to you about soldiering, the qualities of soldiers, because we have proved that Indian soldier is any day better as far as motivation and morale is concerned and the fighting qualities are concerned as compared to Chinese and Pakistani soldiers. Because our soldiers, as you see in our regimental system, because I would like to say here that we have got a very ancient heritage. Our soldiers have got the heritage of several centuries. Some of the soldiers belong to 1,000 years back ancestry. So they are very much entrenched in country, whether it's, the Pakistan is concerned, because Pakistani, as you said, their game is to hide and seek, and in frontal warfare they don't stand anywhere. As far as China is concerned, you already said that yes, of course, they have the technology and manpower, things like that. But recent events have shown that Chinese soldiers are not physically that kind of capacity they have, what is demanded from a soldier. What is your view about it?
I would put across that soldiers are as good as their leaders. Indian Army has got an outstanding junior leadership, and it has been proved time and again in all wars, not only the wars which India fought post 1947, but even First and Second World War. Wherever the Indian soldiers and the young officers have gone, they have fought and made an example of themselves that what soldiering is all about. The second aspect of our soldiers is adaptation. You can imagine a soldier from Tamil Nadu is serving in Siachen Glacier and his combat efficiency is as good as any soldier found in high altitude or elsewhere. Similarly, a soldier from Himachal can perform equally well in a terrain like Sri Lanka or anywhere else in the plain sector. Adaptation, training, dedication, loyalty and trust between the men and the officer is the hallmark of the Indian Army. Whereas, as far as Pakistan is concerned, it was visible during 1999 and of course 1965 and 71 also, that it was the soldiers who were at the forefront and the command element was not along with the soldiers. Whereas in Indian Army, it is the officers, those who lead their men by personal example. The same quality is lacking as far as the Chinese military is concerned. Both during the Eastern Ladakh standoff, it was proved that Indian Army officers and the soldiers, they were standing shoulder to shoulder, whereas the Chinese soldiers found it extremely difficult due to the terrain and the weather climate to stand any chance in front of the own Indian Army soldiers. And therefore I would say that it is a great asset as far as India is concerned, its soldiers class.
Brigadier Narender, thank you very much for sparing valuable time, and we are grateful to you, and we hope that you continue with your work and in the service of the country and in Indian armed forces and Indian Army in particular. Thank you very much.
Thank you.